welcome to Hidden Fields for the Java High Performance Persistence. My name is Sven Ruppert and I will explain in these tutorials what are the really cool persistence solutions you can have in Java if you want to have them embedded inside your process. If you're interested in this and you want to know what Chronicle maps and bytes are doing, stay tuned. Chronicles, Maps and Bytes. This solution or this software project were initially created by Peter Lorre and they are available on GitHub. So it means you can go to github.com, open hft/chronicle-bytes or chronicle-maps. There are several others, but I will focus first on bytes and then on maps, and then you know more or less what the others are. So Chronicle Bytes, it contains a really low-level memory access wrapper to store bytes, and this means that you have access to direct memory solutions and it's working with direct open operating system calls. So this is good, this is bad in different flavors, because all solutions you have with off-heap flavor, you could definitely crash the JVM. So if you're using one of the solutions, and Chronicle is one of them, just have in mind that you are checking what is exactly the JDK they're using and use the same or test your JDK you want to use very intensively. Okay, Chronicle Maps is a hash map that is exactly the same. So it's with on-heap and off-heap solution. So the amount or the size of the hash map itself is not limited to the memory you have inside your system. So this is both available on GitHub. I will focus now on Chronicle Bytes and why I'm choosing Chronicle Bytes. First of all, it's an open source solution. Second, it's embeddable in your process. And the third is Chronicle Bytes is for this needs if you want to write down as fast as possible just your created data. So for transactional logs, for events, for whatever. And this solution is coming from, I think, from the banking system, trading systems, and is exactly designed for this need. So just dumping down as fast as possible data. So if you have this one and you want to have a very low level access, so check out the Bytes solution. Bytes, if you want to have this one, I will give you the dependency in the description. Otherwise, it's net.openhft and the artifact ID is chronicle-bytes. Check out the version. I'm not pushing here some different version because it's changing every time. If you want to have access or how to use this one, after you added the dependency, you have this class called Bytes, and there you can, for example, say .elastic heap byte buffer, and then you can just decide how big it is, and then you can start writing plain data types. For example, write boolean, write int, write char, and so on. So this one is very interesting if you have your own data types. So for example, 3 bytes and then something different. And it's a very compact way of writing down stuff. On the other side, it reminds me a little bit to my C++ times, so that you have to manage all this stuff by yourself. And this is the pro and the con at the same time. So you can write booleans, bytes and all this stuff, and on the other side you can do the same with mapped bytes. Here we are just not accessing the memory version we had before, but now I want to store it because we are talking about persistence, and then I can just say I want to have mapped byte, this is the class, and then mapped bytes, and the param is a file you are defining on your file system. And then you can just start with append UTF-8, append byte, append, and so on. And based on this method signature, you see what's mostly the way to use it, it's append something. So it's just creating data and dumping it down. This is a very fast solution for this one. And the other one is Chronicle Maps. Chronicle Maps is a little bit more convenient. It's the same. It's a map, a key value store, more or less. And here you have persistent map as well, and dependency is net.openhft, and the artifact address is chronicle-maps. So how to use it? What you're doing is you're going to Chronicle map this class and calling the method of, and then you have to decide what is a key class and the value class. And here you will see that it is important that you are able to serialize your data. So if you have complex attributes you want to store as value inside your hash map, then you have to think about how to serialize this one, but that's one of the topics we will cover later. Then you will give a name, so the name is more or less the entity of this map, so you have named maps or maps with IDs, and then you can request this one or create this one. So think about scaling naming schemas here. And then you have to define how many entries you're expecting. So this is for internal purpose, so that they can start tuning based on the values you are giving. And this is not the only one. You have to think a little bit more, or if you want to use the Chronicle implementations itself, you have a very fast implementation, you have a very compact representation of your data, but on the other side you need to know exactly what kind of data is coming. And if you're using the map, not only the amount should be more or less clear, it should be clear what's an average value. Here in this example, I'm just using a string. So if you have, for example, strings as values you want to store, and the string is mostly based on something with 5 to 8 characters, then you should think what value of each character is the average, and providing exactly this string, something between 3 and 8, and with a corresponding average data. This is used to calibrate the implementation internally. And the last thing you should give is create persistent to, and this means that you're redirecting to a place on your file system again. So that's it. With this you have persistent maps with off-heap, with on-heap solutions. So just check the different implementations, and a little bit about the tooling itself. So the tooling or the implementation. So as I mentioned before, it's really if you want to store as fast as possible and you want to dump stuff really fast to disk. With maps you can read this stuff very fast again, so if you just want to have a bunch of bytes up or hash map. But the downside is you have to think about serialization by yourself. Check out the topic DevSecOps, and here I will explain, or in this part I will explain what are the security issues with serialization itself. So yeah, this is one thing. Check out the dependency. It's mostly good to have an eye on the dependency tree itself. If you're using Chronicle, it's a quite big ecosystem around it already. If you need support, you can call Peter Lorre directly, or his company. I don't know his company name right now, but it's OpenHFT, whatever. Check out on GitHub, you will find it. And so commercial support is available. It's focusing on low latency implementations, and it's perfect if you just want to write down as fast as possible, and if you know exactly what type and value you have to store. So for this, the solution is perfect. There is no transactional behavior on top of it, so I don't know if there's an additional project that you can map on top, but Chronicle itself has no transactional behavior like the other ones. For example, like Xodus or MapDB or whatever. So check out this one if you need this, and yeah, just try it out.